Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. So macam biasa, checking the mic, checking the sound, checking the screen and check semua benda okey ke? Ada dengar apa-apa bunyi yang tak sepatutnya ke apa ke? Okay, semua okey. Right, so never mind. Let's start. Okay, so basically I do feel that today is going to be quite an easy class because we just need to learn about the type of matrices and then how to do the addition, subtraction as well as multiplication. So just a simple step to do. So perhaps for those of you who are not really used to matrices, so by learning this lecture, you should be able to tell what is the order for the matrices and then what is a matrix. Okay, basically I'm gonna spend around 4 hours for this chapter. So this is the fourth chapter and we are going to spend around 4 hours for this chapter. So I'll do 4.1, finish 4.1 by today, and then we will do 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, and then finish with chapter 4. After that, we are going to start with chapter 5. Okay, let's go. Right, so subtopic, we have 4 subtopics. So for today, let's do 4.1, the types of matrices. Okay, so the learning outcome for today, you should be able to identify different types of matrices. So matrices, we have zero matrix, identity matrix, diagonal matrix and so on. So you have to know what is the different types of matrices and then perform the operation on matrices. So we are going to try to do some addition, subtraction, and then scalar multiplication as well as multiplication between two matrices. Okay, so the difference between them is that for scalar multiplication, we have some scalar times with the matrix. For multiplication of two matrix, you have something like this, A times with B, or perhaps C times with D, and so on. So this one, you're going to have some constant in front. So perhaps -1 multiply with A, something like this. And then transpose of a matrix. So A with a cap T at the top or matrix B with a T at the top. So that is what we mean by the transpose of a matrix. So either you have AT or BT. But do make sure mesti kena guna capital letter Cap T. Okay, next. Right, so now let us proceed to the types of matrices. Okay, so what is matrix? So for example, I give you 4, 7, 3, 2, 5, 9. Okay, so in matrix, we have two things that we need to know. The first one is the rows and then the column. Okay, so for example over here, 4, 7, 3, 4, 7, 3, that is also known as row 1. 2, 5, 9, that is also known as row 2. And then column is somewhere over there. So column, we have column 1, C1, column 2, and then column 3. So malas nak tulis panjang, saya tulis C je lah Okay, so row 1, row 2, column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, so if we are talking about the order of this matrix, it will be 2 by 3. So 2 by 3, that means we are going to have 2 rows and then 2 column. So that means if you have a 1 by 3 matrix, that means your matrix will have 1 row and then 3 column. Okay, so this is how a matrix looks like. Okay, and then we have something called the entries. Okay, so the entries are the number in the matrix denoted by Aij. So for example over here, this is the first row and the first column. So 4 is in the first row, first column. So this is A11. Okay, so for example, this one over here, the 9. 9 is in the second row as well as the third column. So that is A23. A23. Okay, let me choose another one. Which one should we choose? Let's say 7. Okay, so 7 is in row 1, second column. So this is A12. So from here, we have A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, and A23. So those are known as the entries. Okay, next. Right, so here are some of the properties. No. Some of the types of the matrix. So the first one, we can have something called as the row matrix. So as you can see, for the matrix, you only have them in one row. So for example, over here, this is 1 by 3. So one row, 3 column. 1, 3, 7, 3 column. And then another one, this one is 1 by 2. So one row, 2 columns. So this is also known as row matrix because we only have them in one row. The second types of matrix is something called as the column matrix. So column matrix, everything is in one column. So for example over here, 0, -4. So this is basically 1, 2, 2 rows by one column. And then this is 2, 3, 5, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 rows by one column. So since we only have one column for this, we're going to call them as the column matrix. Okay, next. Square matrix. Okay, so what do we mean by a square matrix? That means the number of rows is the same with the numbers of column. So for example, over here, this is a 2 by 2 because we have 2 rows, 1, 3, 1, 8, and then we also have 2 columns, 1, 1, 3, 8. So this is by 2. And then 1, 3, 2. So this is the first column, second column. So altogether we have 3 by how many? How many tadi apa? Rows. And then column. Tersasul. Maaf lah pagi-pagi buta ni. Okay, 1, 3, 2. So that is the first column. 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1. So that is also 3 column. So we got 3 rows and 3 column. So this is also known as the square matrix. So n by n. So the number will be the same. So that is the third type. The fourth type is something called as the zero matrix. So zero matrix, that means each entries will be zero. Every entry will be zero. So 0, 0, 0, 0, everything zero. So this is also known as the zero matrix. Okay, next. A diagonal matrix. Okay, so what do we mean by a diagonal matrix? Diagonal is over here when you have similar number for I and J. Okay, so entry is Aij, right? So if I is equal to J, then those are the diagonal matrix. So for example, the 2 is A11, the 3 over here is A22. So that is why we call them as the diagonal matrix. Okay, so this one, so A11, A22, A23. So this one over here as well, A11, A22, A33. And everything else other than the diagonal matrix must be zero. So kecuali daripada diagonal tu ada nilai. But other than the diagonal, every other entries will become zero because this is a diagonal matrix. So we only have the value on the diagonal. Okay, next. The identity matrix. So this is mostly what we are going to use later on. So do make sure to keep this in mind. Identity matrix. So for example, as you can see over here, this is actually a diagonal matrix, except that on the diagonal, all the entries will be 1. Okay, so 1, 0, 0, 1. Same thing over here. This is actually a diagonal other than the diagonal one, everything else will become 0. So 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Okay, so this is mostly known as I2 by 2. Meanwhile, this one is I3 by 3. So kalau if let's say for matrix and then you see I stand for identity matrix. Okay, next. There is something called the upper and lower triangular. Okay, so the lower triangular matrix. Okay, so why do we call them as a lower triangular? So make sure to draw a triangle. Okay, so draw a triangle. As you can see, you have 0 0 0 at the top. So you can have your triangle below. So this is why we call them as the lower triangular. So kita boleh lukis triangle tu bahagian bawah, atas daripada triangle tu semua entry dia kosong. So sebab tu kita panggil dia sebagai lower triangular. Okay, so similar thing over here. If you draw your triangle, at the top of your triangle, you are going to get 0, all zeros entry, and then only your triangle will have some value. Okay, so that is lower triangular. We also have something else called the upper triangular. Okay, so similar thing, upper triangular simply means that we can do our triangle above. Upper triangle. Tak nampak dah pula bentuk triangle tu. Alah sajalah. Okay, so this is the types of matrices. Okay, so just in case some people are wondering why sometimes I call them as matrix, sometimes I call them as matrices. So this is basically the single and plural thing. So a matrix. If you have more than one matrix, we're gonna call them as matrices. So matrix, matrices. Just a single or plural thing. Tak apa je, biasanya kalau untuk maths kita taklah begitu menekankan pasal grammar ni. So kadang-kadang memang nampak lah orang tulis a matrices. Tapi tak apalah, kita bukan grammar Nazi, okay je. Okay, next. Right, so now some operation of matrices. So basically we can do some operation on matrices. We can do addition. Where's my mouse? Okay, addition. We can do subtraction. We can do scalar multiplication, and we can do something called as multiplication. So scalar multiplication and multiplication, those are two different things. For scalar multiplication, you will have some constant times with the matrix, and then multiplication will be between two matrices. Okay, so now the operation that you learn, normally it involves addition, subtraction, multiplication, as well as a division. But we don't see them over here. Like that is because for matrices, we don't have something called the division. Kita tak ada division untuk matrices So that mean if let's say you have 3A equal to B and you want to find A, right? So you cannot do B over 3, cannot. Why? We don't have a division for matrices. What you can do is that you can actually times with 1 over 3. So A will become 1 over 3B. So instead of writing down A equal to B over 3, we have to write down A equal to 1 over 3B. That is because for matrices, we don't see anything with a division. So dekat matrix tak boleh tulis secara bahagi Never. Kalau tulis ni biasanya kita akan potong sikit markah lah ke apa. Just that macam concern yang kata dia tak faham sebenarnya apa yang berlaku. Boleh Can you guys understand what do I mean over there? What do I mean that there will be no division when it comes to matrices? Can you? Ke semua orang tak bangun lagi ni. Yes, okay. Oh, by the way, untuk siapa yang akaun YouTube dia pakai akaun MOE kan. So, saya rasa siapa yang pakai akaun MOE dan bawah daripada 18 tahun, you might need to migrate your video kot. Kalau lah ada guna kan. Kalau ada guna lah. So, mungkin kena pindahkan video tu pergi akaun baru ke apa ke. Sebab kalau tak silap saya, sekarang punya polisi kalau siapa yang bawah 18 dia macam dia tak boleh upload video kot. So nanti akan ada masalah. Untuk siapa yang pakai akaun MOE lah. Siapa yang pakai akaun biasa macam ni nampak macam pakai akaun biasa ni. Akaun biasa okey je. Siapa yang pakai email MOE tu mungkin kena uh, download dulu ke video tu ke apa ke. Sebab kalau tidak mungkin akan hilang. Oh, Abel dah bangun dah. Bagus Abel bangun. Okay, next. Right, so now simplify for A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, B equal to 4, 3, negative 5, 6. Okay, so you should try to do A plus B as well as A minus B. Okay, so I'll give you around 2 minutes for you to do the plus as well as the subtraction. Addition, subtraction. So yang ni pernah belajar kan masa sekolah dulu kan? Kalau tak belajar pun cuba belasah dulu. Sekejap lagi kita tengok macam mana. Suka hati je aku suruh dia belasah dulu. Betul Alicia, kalau pakai MOE nak chat pun tak boleh. Sepatutnya tak boleh sebab dia dikira sebagai live chat. So live chat pun tak boleh. So mungkin kena pakai akaun email lain lah. Dia yang lain tu macam saya tak concern sangat, cuma yang YouTube je lah. Oh, hari ni kurang sikit orang. Saya rasa ramai yang pergi ambil vaksin kot. Bagus, bagus. Pergi ambil vaksin. By the way, I got my second dose yesterday. Nak belagak juga. Sabarlah. Okay, dah kot. Right, so now A plus B. So we're gonna write down A and then we're gonna plus them with B. So A is 1, 2, 3, 4. B is 4, 3, negative 5, 6. Okay, so how do we add them? Okay, so you basically need to add the same entries together. So kena entry yang sama baru boleh tambah Okay, so 1 plus with 4. So that is how you get 1 plus 4 over here. And then the 2 will be plus with 3. And then 3 will be plus with negative 5. And then 4 will be plus with 6. Okay, so we're going to add the same entry. If let's say they don't have the same order. So kalau kata A dengan B tu order dia tak sama. So for example, let's say A is 1 by 2 and then B is 2 by 1. They don't have the same order, so we cannot add them together. So you simply gonna say not compatible. Order dia mesti kena sama baru kita boleh buat tambah tau. Oh, ada orang yang dah sama yang dah ambil 2 dos. Okay, high five. Okay, next. We're gonna simplify them. Okay, let's see. So it will become 5, 5, negative 2, 10. Okay, so that is A plus B. So now the second one is A minus B. Okay, so write down the A first and then you minus them with B. Similar thing. We should do the subtraction between the same entries. So this is 1 minus with 4. And then 2 minus with 3, and then we have 3 minus with negative 5, and then we have 4 minus with 6. Okay. After that, we should simplify them. So 1 minus 4 is negative 3, 2 minus 3, negative 1, 3 plus 5, 8, 4 minus 2 is negative 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay, so we got negative 3, negative 1, 8, and negative 2. Okay, so now done with A plus B as well as A minus B. So let us proceed to the next example. Okay, so now let A equal to 1453 and B is 3642. Calculate what is 3A minus 2B. Okay, so now A, in front of the A, we do see some scalar over here. So this is a scalar multiplication. And then B, in front of the B, we see a constant over there. So that is also a scalar multiplication. So both of them are actually scalar multiplication. And then between those two, we should do subtraction. Okay, so firstly, let us write down 3A minus 2B first. Okay, so 3 times A minus with 2 times B. Okay, so what happened next is that we're going to times the constant inside of each of the entries. So kita akan darab setiap satu masuk dalam lah. Okay, so 3 times 1, so 3. 3 times 4, 12. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 3, 9. And then you minus with, okay, so now 2. 2 times in front. So all the entries will be times with 2. So it will become 6, 12, 8, 4. Okay, so 3, 12, 15, 9 minus 6, 12, 8, 4. And then how do we do subtraction? Again, similar thing. We are going to minus with the same entries. So for example, over here, A11 minus with A11, A12, A12, and then 21, 21, 22 with 22. Okay, so 3 minus 6, 12 minus 12, 15 minus 8, and then 9 minus 4. Okay. Baiklah, saya tulis kat sini. Saja memanjangkan masa. And then 9 minus 4. Oh, by the way, for matrices, if you don't want to use the square bracket over here, you can use a normal bracket. Tapi kalau boleh, jangan campur-campur lah. Normally, I prefer to use the square one. Why? Because I can use my ruler for them. So, dia nampak macam kemas, macam cantik. Macam lawa lah sikit kan. Biasanya kalau macam ni nampak tak tu? Tu macam bulat lain macam sikit sebelah kanan ni. Belah kiri ni pun macam, dia macam tak matching lah bulatan tu. Bulatan kurungan tu. Bila tak matching, saya tak suka lukis bulatan tu. Sebab tu saya akan lukis guna yang square macam ni lah. Dia nampak lebih kemas. But of course, if you are very good, you can actually do those kind of bracket as well. Salute lah yang boleh buat cantik ni. Okay, next. Right, so simplify them, it will become negative 3, 0, 7, and 5. Okay, done. Example 10. Proceed to the next one. Okay, so now there are a few properties that we need to know. Okay, so the first one is something called as the commutative. So, dia nama-nama ni tak hafal pun tak apa. The thing is, you need to understand what do we mean over here. Okay, so cumulative means that if we do A plus B, it will be similar to B plus A. So that means for a matrices, if let's say you have A plus with B, if you change the B to the front, it will be equal to the same value. So B plus equal to A plus B. First one. And then associative. Associative means that if you have A plus B plus with C, you can actually do A plus B first and then you plus with C, or you can do B plus C first and then you plus with A. So kita boleh buat kurungan tu kat mana-mana lah. And then zero matrix. So how are you going to get a zero matrix? Basically, if you have A plus with negative of A, or negative of A plus with A, that will become zero matrix. But this zero over here, dia bukan satu nombor je. It's supposed to be 0, 0, 0, 0, depending on what is the order of the matrix. So for example over here, this is a 2 by 2. Kalau matrix tu semua 3 by 3, tukarlah kepada 3 by 3. Okay, and then something else called multiplication. If let's say alpha and beta are constant, then if you have alpha plus beta times with A, that will be quite similar if you have alpha times with A plus with beta times with A. not quite similar, it will be similar. Quite tu macam tak sama. Dia macam seolah-olah macam kita expand lah kiranya. Ting, ting macam tu. Okay, but you need to be extra careful over here. This is A plus B times with A. So alpha A, alpha B. Alpha A, beta A. Hari ni dia weng sikit lah. Okay, alpha is a constant. So if you have alpha and then A plus B, so it will be alpha A plus with alpha B. And then if you have alpha multiply with beta alpha, so you can actually take out the constant outside. So it will be alpha beta. So you times the constant first before you times with the matrix. So it will be similar over here. Those are the few properties. Biasanya bila nak guna, nak jawab soalan kita gunalah sikit property ni biasanya. Okay, next. Right, so now find. So this is a multiplication between two matrices. Okay, so find 1, 2, 3, negative 2, 0, 5 times with 2, 1, negative 3, 4, 2. Okay, so the way we calculate the multiplication between two matrices is that we have to take the rows and then we times with the column. So for example over here, it will be 1 multiply with 2. And then 2 multiply with negative 3 and then 3 multiply with 2 and then you're going to add everything together. But I'm sure sometimes it can be quite hard to see which value that we are going to times. So normally for me, for someone who's very at the beginner level, I normally ask them to do a table first. Okay, so firstly, the first matrix, okay, so the first matrix on the left hand side, make sure to separate them by rows. So for example, over here we have 1, 2, 3, negative 2, 0, 5. So I separate them by rows. And then on the right hand side, we are going to separate them by column. So rows, column, because the way we times them is row by column. Okay, so now separate by column, we got 2, negative 3, 2, 1, 4, 1. And then I'm going to do a table for them, something that looks like this. And then what happened? Only now I can do the multiplication. Okay, so for example over here, it will be 1 times with 2 plus with 2 times with negative 3 plus with 3 times with 2. And then I'm going to add everything together. Okay, so 1 times 2 plus 2 times negative 3 plus 3 times 2. So that is the first one. Okay, what happened for the second one? Okay, the second one. Right, the second one will become 1 times 1 plus 2 times 4 plus 3 times 1. Okay, and then you add everything. Okay, so 1 times 1, 2 times 4, 3 times 1. And then you're going to do the same thing for the second row as well. Okay, let me erase and then do one more time. Okay, so negative 2 times with 2 plus 0 times with negative 2 plus 5 times with 2. Okay, and then the last one. Kalau dah cakap tak payahlah buat macam ni. Ini untuk yang macam masih blur lagi. Sebab biasanya kalau saya jumpa student dalam 80 saya blur lagi. So kalau awak dah tahu macam nak buat, you ada top 20 lah. Okay lah tu. Okay, so now the right hand side, this is negative 2 times with 1. And then plus 0 times with 4 plus 5 times with 1. So you're going to times everything together and then just simply add them. Okay, so negative 2 times 1, 0 times 4, 5 times 1. And then of course, you're going to simplify them. So it will become 2, 12, 6, 3. So itu adalah cara untuk kita buat multiplication lah. So biasanya untuk siapa yang baru, macam saya cakap lah, biasanya untuk student yang baru memang saya minta buat kotak-kotak macam ni supaya senang untuk dia tengok siapa nak darab dengan siapa. Tapi kalau untuk yang dah lama, biasanya dia boleh tengok macam ni. Dia boleh tengok rows and then times with column, row times column. and then row times column, row times column, they can easily see. But if you think that you do a lot of mistake, banyak careless mistake, then I do advise you to do the table because you can easily see the numbers. Memang payah lah kalau dah silap. Oh, by the way, for matrices is not a really hard topic, but the thing that is tough for matrices is that you have to be extra careful, really careful with your working. You shouldn't miss anything. Contohnya tak boleh miss simbol tolak, tak boleh miss certain tu lah. Tak boleh salah satu nombor pun tak boleh salah. If you miss any of the number, then the result will be different. So even for me myself, sometimes I do make some careless mistake as well. So I do think that you might do the same careless mistake. So in order to avoid those careless mistake, I would really advise you to see what is the number that you are simply times. Yang darab ni lah. Because we are going to do all those sort of multiplication later on. Okay, next. Right, so now let A is -1, 2, 3, 4, B is 2, -1, 3, 2. Show that AB is not equal to BA. Okay, so firstly on the left hand side, you should calculate what is AB first. Then on the right hand side, you should calculate what is BA. So calculate what is A times with B, and then calculate what is B times with A. Okay, so I'll give you around 3 minutes for you to try to do them. And then later on, we are going to check. So tolong darab dulu lah. Macam mana nak darab? Tengoklah apa yang awak selesa, method apa yang awak selesa. Darab dulu, cuba dulu. Oh, your attendant. I forgot. Okay. Sekejap Attendant. Saya lupa. Kalau dah siap nanti bagi tahu is 29. 29. And first of Kalau dah siap kira bagi tahu Ada saya send link tu. Apa je lah. Ini tadi yang saya ini Pak. Oh, sekarang minggu 6 dah Wow, minggu 6 dah. Dah hampir 1/3. Boleh lah 1/3. 1/3 dah. Syat. Asal dia tulis kat situ kehadiran 22, 23 lagi. Penat aku tukar. Dah, oh sudah. Semua pakai sudah. Sekejap Sat, dia tengok asal. Tapi okey je. Kawan awak isi. Dah ada 3 orang, 4 orang dah isi. Betul je. Whatever lah, malas aku nak layan. Okay, next. Okay, so now let us write down what is A and B. So A, -1, 2, 3, 4. 2, -1, 3, 2. And then as usual, rule multiply with column. Okay, so you got -1 times 2 plus 2 times 3. And then -1 times with -1 times -1 plus with 2 times with 2. And then 3 times 2, 4 times 3, 3 times -1, 4 times 2. And then of course you're going to simplify them. So that will become 4, 5, 18, 5. Okay, and then you're going to calculate what is B times with A. So B times A. And then do the B times with A. So 2, -1 plus -1 times with 3. And then 2 times 2 plus -1 times with 4. 3 times -1 plus 2 times 3. 3 times 2, 2 times 4. Okay, and then you're going to simplify them a little bit. So it will become -5, 0, 3, -5, 0, 3, 14. Okay, so what you can see over here is that 4, 5, 18, 5 is not equal to -5, 0, 3, 14, which means AB is equal to BA. Sama kan? Okay, so what do they mean over here is that if you have A times with B, you cannot simply change the position of the matrix. So kalau kata A duduk dekat depan, B duduk kat belakang. So you cannot change the position to become B times with A. Because if you change the position to them, then you are going to get a different matrix. Nak cari perkataan dah. A different matrix. So they are not equal. So pastikan kalau kata kita nak buat pengiraan untuk matrices, you should keep in mind, is it A times B or B times A? Be extra careful with that. Okay, next. Properties of matrix multiplication. Okay, so associative. So if you have A times with B times with C, so if you do B times C first, that will be similar to doing A times with B first and then you times with C. So kita boleh adjust lah. Kalau kita ada A times with B, C, so boleh pilih lah sama ada nak times B, C dulu ataupun nak times A, B dulu. And then baru times with C. So do see over here, the position is still A, B, C. Cuma the difference is the bracket je. Bracket tu nak letak kat depan ke bracket nak letak kat belakang. But the position will be the same. A, B and C. So pastikan jangan ubah position jadi B, A, C lah. Yang ni tak boleh. Tukar posisi saja kita akan dapat matrix yang berbeza. So position dia sama, cuma kita nak tukar matrix. Nak kira yang mana dulu saja. Nak bubuh bracket kat mana lah kiranya. Okay, distributive. If you have A multiply with B plus C, so it will become AB plus with AC. So for this one, be careful as well. So you have A in front. So when you try to expand them, A should be in front as well. So A times with B plus C. So A times B. So AB, AC. So do make sure A stay at front. A tu duduk kat atas lah. Jangan A tu duduk. A duduk kat depan. A bukan duduk dekat belakang. So don't change it to become BA and then AC. Tak boleh lah. Pastikan posisi kena betul. Okay, next. Transpose matrix. Okay, so if let's say I give you A, which is the entries is A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Then the transpose of A, it will become A11, A21, A31, A12, A22, A32, A13, A23, A33. Okay, so now let me ask you one thing. What do you understand from this diagram? What is the meaning of the transpose matrix? What do you understand from here? Daripada gambar rajah ni je lah. Tak payah tengok working yang teruk sangat. I just want you to know what happened from this diagram. What does it mean by transpose from here? Daripada sini, apa yang awak faham tentang maksud transpose tu? Column and row change place, correct? We are going to change from row to become column. Okay, so for example, over here, this is row 1. Suddenly, row 1 will be changed to column 1. This one is row 2. This one is row 3. And they become column 2 and column 3. So that is what we mean by transpose. So transpose, you're going to change from row to column. Okay, so tengok dari sini sepatutnya dah boleh lah tu. Dah beberapa orang dah tu jawab tu. That means you are supposed to see that transpose simply changing the row to become column. Okay. Properties of transpose. So we have a few properties of transpose. The first one is that if you do an addition or subtraction first before transpose, it will be similar to transpose each of them and then do the addition or subtraction later on. So kita boleh buat tambah dulu, dah dapat value baru buat transpose, ataupun nak transpose siap-siap baru buat tambah tolak pun boleh lah. However, if you have A multiply with B and then you transpose them, it's not become A transpose B transpose, but it will be a different way. It will be B transpose A transpose. Sebab kita nak matchkan dia punya column dengan row tu. Sebab tu dia tak boleh buat A transpose B transpose. So, AB transpose, if you want to calculate AB first before you transpose, then they will be equal to B transpose first and then you times with A transpose. Okay, so now A transpose, if you transpose them again, that will become A. So A tadi kita transpose, dah dapat A transpose, transpose lagi. So dia akan kembali kepada A, normal A lah kiranya. If let's say you have some constant, you times with a matrix and then you want to transpose them. So it will be similar with taking out the constant and then you transpose your matrix. So it will become KA transpose. So sama ada kita nak darab constant tu masuk dalam matrix dulu, darab, kira semua baru transpose, ataupun tarik dulu constant tu keluar, A tu transpose dulu. Lepas tu baru darab balik dengan constant. Okay. So those are the properties of transpose matrix. Okay, next. Example 13. If let's say B is equal to 2, 1, 3, what is your B transpose? I give you 10 seconds for you to write down your answer. What is your B transpose? Okay, so B equal to 2, 1, 3. What is B transpose? So 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep. Okay, so B transpose. So instead of having a column matrix over here, the B transpose will become a row matrix. So it will become 2, 1, 3. Okay, so now the second one. If D is equal to 1, 3, 3, 2, 5, 4, 1, 3, 5, then what is D transpose? Okay lah, untuk yang ni saya bagi 15 saat. Stress. Kenapa? Apa yang stress je sebab kira lah. Okay, never mind. 10 seconds starting from now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Beep! Lawak lah budak-budak ni. Okay, next. So it will become 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3 and then 3, 4, 5. Kalau nak senang, awak pilih dulu. Pilih dulu first row and then you write down as the first column. And then second row, write down the second column. And then third row, third column. Tulis satu persatu lah. Kalau kata biasanya, kalau nak tulis semua serentak, fikir memang payah jugalah. Bukan payah apa, dia jadi macam pening sebab banyak sangat nombor. For me lah. Since I don't really like having too many numbers. I don't normally remember numbers. Okay, next. Right, so let A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. B is 3, 4, 2, 3. C is 1, 4, 3, 2. Show that A plus B transpose is equal to A transpose plus B transpose. For this kind of question, so we have to separate them into two. So we should solve the left hand side first. So we're gonna do A plus B transpose first. So we're gonna solve the left hand side until we get the answer, and then we are going to focus on the right hand side, solving them until we get the answer on the right hand side. And then we're going to verify that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, hence A plus B transpose is equal to A transpose plus with B transpose. So shown lah, proven. Okay, so now the left hand side first, A plus B transpose. So what do they mean is that these two, I should add them together first before I transpose the final answer. Okay, so it will be 1 plus 3, 2 plus 4, 3 plus 2, 4 plus 1. So to make sure to add the same entries together. So 1 plus 3, 4, 4, 6, 5, 5. And then we have to do A plus B transpose. So you're going to transpose them. So take the first row, it will become the first column. Take the second row, it will become the second column. So it will become 4, 5, 6, 5. So it will be much more easier if you write them down by rows. So, pergi satu-satu row lah, baru tulis. And then we're going to do A transpose plus with B transpose. Okay, so A. A is 1, 2, 3, 4. So A transpose, okay, 1, 2. So first row, first column, 3, 4. So that is A transpose and then B transpose. Okay, my first row, 3, 4. So 3, 4, 2, 1. So A transpose, B transpose. We are going to add them together. 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 1. Add them together. So 1 plus 3, 3 plus 2, 2 plus 4, 4 plus 1. So they will become 4, 5, 6, 5. As you can see, this means that they are equal. Therefore, A plus B transpose is equal to A transpose plus B transpose. Okay, just in case tengah nak salin lagi kan, okay, start lah. Lama tak nampak Kobe tu. Minggu lepas tak ada Macam tak ada je. Boleh macam tu. Macam tak ada je minggu lepas. Okay, next. Okay, I think this is the last one, I think. Okay, so show that BC transpose is equal to C transpose B transpose. Okay, so what do they mean over here is that we should calculate BC first and then we transpose the answer. On the right hand side, we should transpose each of them and then we're going to times them later on. Okay, so again, we are going to separate them into two. So the first one is on the left hand side. We're going to find out what is the answer on the left hand side and then the answer on the right hand side, and then we are going to verify that we are definitely going to get the same thing. Okay, so B times with C first and then you transpose. Okay, so we got 3, 4, 2, 1 multiply with 1, 4, 3, 2 with a transpose over here. Okay, so after that, we definitely need to do the rows time with the column. Okay, so row times with the column for each of them. Okay. So they will become 3 times 1 plus 4 times 3 and then 2 times 1, 1 times 3, 3 times 4, 4 times 2, 2 times 4, 1 times 2. Okay, so it will become 3 plus 12, 2 plus 3, 12 plus 8, 8 plus 2. Okay, so simplify them a little bit. So it will become 15, 20, 5, 10, transpose. And then you're going to transpose everything. So it will become 15, 5, 20, 10. Okay, so that is BC transpose. And then we have to calculate C transpose B transpose. Okay, so C, you transpose them. So this is the C. C transpose. So that one will become 1, 4, 3, 2. And then B transpose from here, it will become 3, 4, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm going to times them together and then let's check whether do we have the same answer or not. Okay, so C transpose, B transpose, 1, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 1. Times them together. So we are going to do the row, multiply with the column. So this one is 1 times 3, 3 times 4, and then 1 times 2, 3 times 1. 4 times 3, 2 times 4, 4 times 2, 2 times 1. So you're going to times them together. So it will become 3 plus 12, 2 plus 3, 12 plus 8, 8 plus 2, which is 15, 5, 20, 10. And this is actually equal to BC transpose. Thus, you will say that BC transpose is equal to C transpose B transpose. Okay, so done. I think we are done with this lecture. So now I'll give you around 5 minute rest. Take 5 little bit. So after this, we are going to do the tutorial class. Okay, so sekejap lagi saya send lah untuk tutorial Okay, jumpa sekejap lagi. Bye-bye.